shield is hitting this weave through pass, and Matt wants to put a lot of pressure down on my top leg to collapse it. He wants to try to control my bottom leg, and then eventually he's going to try to turn towards this direction. So now, notice how Matt immediately reaches to try to get head control. So the big thing I want to make sure I'm doing in this position is keeping that from happening. So I don't want him to be able to flatten me out, because I want to be able to come underneath and invert off of this transition. So I'm conscious as to what I'm doing with my right arm, usually towards the bicep or something, keeping him from being able to flatten me out. So and now, as he starts to weave through and starts to pass around to the outside, I'm gonna get control of his wrist. Look what I do with my left leg. I lift it up and I keep it up here on the top part of his back. My foot's hooking around the top part of his back. Why? Because I don't want him to try to cut back the opposite direction, right? I want him to continue to progress towards my head. So as he's progressing towards my hand, I use my bottom leg and I'm starting to elevate my hips, keeping his wrist controlled and tucked in close towards my hips. As he continues to walk, I just follow that line, coming all the way underneath to get into my imoplata, right? It's pretty simplistic in nature, but it works really well when you can hit it cleanly in the process of the transition, right? Here in my knee shield, boom, blocking that cross face, grabbing onto the wrist. As he's walking around, my foot stays hooked. The moment I can lift my hips up, I do that. Boom, right into my imoplata. Right? Tucking my imoplata in nice and tight. We'll worry about what we can do from here once we get that transition in. All right, so without that, the movement's simplistic, right? I've got my leg up, I'm holding onto the wrist. He's passing around the outside, I'm coming up on my hips. I tuck my head in towards my knee to complete the transition. Everybody got it? Let's do it, 1, 2, 3. Same idea, he's weaving through, he starts to pass around the outside, I'm up and I'm underneath into my control. Dude, one of the things that I'll do right away out of this, instead of going for imoplata, is I'll use my right leg just to create some momentum, and pushing off of my left leg, I'll swing back into my triangle position, right? I just find that I have such a better finishing rate from a triangle control than I do from imoplata in no-gi jiu-jitsu. I always find it tough to hold on, especially when it starts to get sweaty, right? So that's another option off of this weave through position. He's coming up, he's moving around, I'm gonna come up, swing right back into my triangle. So I just use my leg to get straight to that position, and then I'm in to a nice deep triangle. All right, so that's another option. But what I wanted to look at is if he's able to kind of beat us to the punch a little bit and start to flatten us out. So I get here, he comes around the corner, and I'm not able to invert because he's got too much weight and pressure on top. Super common, right? But he should be doing that in all honesty. So instead, I'm gonna concede the position, but I'm gonna tuck my left leg back in nice and tight towards my body. Let him come all the way to top side control. I keep this wrist. Now I've got it stuck with just the bony part of my shin up here, right? I make figure 4 with my legs. Now I'm gonna reach up with my right arm and get a clamp on the back of his shoulder blade. I reach up with my left arm, get a clamp on the back of his shoulder blade. I'm pinching my elbows together nice and tight, so kind of like a tie clamp back here, right? Right, John? Yeah. Cool. So we're here, right? I'm locking everything in place. I'm gonna flare my left knee out. So it's like I'm pushing my left knee towards the back wall, keeping everything tight, then I just hit it up at the same time. And that's how you get the tap, right? Don't forget the knee flare. Most of you will, and you'll try to keep your leg in here, you wonder why they're not tapping. The moment I flare my knee out, it gets so tight, right? So the movement is here, knee flares, then we hip up, pull down, just like an armbar. Bueno? Same position, boom, I can't invert, so I just tuck. Right, I'm shoving his wrist in my hip pocket right here. Reaching up with my right arm. Once I've got it, I let go, reach up with my left arm. Flare my knee out, hip up, really tight. Go slow with the bicep cover. Everybody got it? Let's do it, 1, 2, 3. It's real quick, right? If you're gonna go do this live somewhere and somebody's gonna pop this defense on you, you'll be like, man, Coach David showed me bullshit, right? When we're here, the big thing too, man, is you're gonna let your partner come all the way in and secure side control to get into the position. So if you're trying to fight the pass still in this position, it becomes hard to get into the submission, right? So Matt's gonna let me come all the way in as he puts the submission in place, right? Now Now, this defense to this is I'm going to get control with my left arm. I switch my hips and I take a big step over and trap his leg, pull it free, right? So when I'm doing this submission, he's got everything in place. The moment somebody switches their hips and goes to step over, exactly, I'll either unwind and use it to get back to good guard control, right? Or I'm just hyper diligent at pointing my toes, so your right toes towards the far side wall and taking your legs this direction, so it's tougher for me to step over. Make sense? So food for thought when you're doing it live. Bueno. All right. Any questions?
Matt needs to learn how to play this tough.
Yeah, Matt does. He's horrible.
Not a ballerina, I'm sorry.
All right, let's get water and train. 1, 2, 3.